Back then, the heiresses who refused to go home suddenly received some major news. Their younger brother, lost for 18 years, was finally found by their wealthy father.
He wanted them all to come home for a quick reunion. But nobody expected these cold, aloof goddesses to completely lose their minds over him.
The oldest sister forces him to sign away her wealth, while the second tries to inject him with mysterious chemicals.
And the third sister literally knocks on his door late at night asking if he wants a wife. Turns out, just 3 days ago, the ultra-rich tycoon Gu Bingkun hired him as his adopted son for $100,000 to fix his relationship with his daughters. And it literally only took him 1 day to work his magic. He helped Gu Mengyun, the socially anxious manga artist who was terrified of leaving the house, to take her very first step outside. Meanwhile, the cold campus goddess Gu Qingwan, who already knew him, now has some furiously complicated feelings for him thanks to this crazy identity change. Right now in class, the main character and the campus goddess Gu Qingwan show up in the same lecture hall. Their eyes meet and things get pretty awkward. He weakly says good morning, and Gu Qingwan just raises an eyebrow. Her tone leaves no room for argument. Sit over here, what are you waiting for?
He nods without thinking, but inside he is completely shocked.
See, normally, if any guy dared to sit next to Gu Qingwan, they would get absolutely vaporized by her icy gaze. But today, she actually invited him? This is wild. Is it just because he is her brother now? Meanwhile, the whole class is staring at them like they just saw a ghost, but Gu Qingwan literally does not care. She sweeps her cold gaze around the room, and instantly, everyone looking for drama immediately looks away under her absolute boss energy. Ever since he sat next to her, Gu Qingwan has not said a single word. The silence is making him pretty nervous. Is she trying to intimidate him on day one? But what he does not know is, she is not trying to scare him at all. She just has no clue how to start talking. For years, she has barely had a normal conversation with any guy. Even though they worked together before, they barely talked back then. It was strictly business. In the end, his cautious greeting, calling her sister, gave her an opening. She asks if his stay at her place yesterday was okay. Gu Qingwan still sounds cold, but he can definitely hear a hint of nervousness there. Is it just his imagination? He does not overthink it. He tells her that his father and sister are both treating him well, which actually makes her frown. It should be a good thing, but she feels like her favorite toy is being stolen away.
She is secretly annoyed. She tells him to just ask her if he ever needs anything.
She adds that the fourth sister might seem timid, but she is actually very warm-hearted. But saying this reminds her of the scene she witnessed yesterday. He and her sister Gu Mengyue sitting together laughing and talking so easily. Instantly, she gets way more jealous. He asks her if she secretly dislikes him. Since she has been so quiet, he says it is totally fine. If she does not like him, she should just say it, and he won't mind. His soft voice carries a hint of insecurity. Yes, this is his classic galaxy brain move. Advance by retreating. Playing weak is the ultimate way to gain her sympathy and affection.
And with his insane looks, honestly, this trick works every single time.
To this day, Gu Yan has never met anyone who could actually resist his puppy dog eyes. Gu Qingwan immediately melts upon hearing his sad story. Looking at the incredibly pitiful boy standing right next to her, all her previous annoyance instantly vanishes into thin air. How could she possibly forget that Gu Yan grew up as a poor, lonely orphan? He spent so many years without a real home, only to finally reunite with his family yesterday. How could she get upset over such tiny, meaningless things? At this point, she feels like a totally useless, terrible older sister. Thinking of this, she softens her voice, telling him that she definitely does not hate him. She is just a bit, well, she does not really know how to talk to guys yet. Gu Yan sighs with relief, saying it is amazing that his sister does not hate him. He pats his chest in relief, then suddenly brings up another idea. If she does not know how to interact with guys, she can always just text and chat with him more. Maybe she will eventually get the hang of it, though honestly, his suggestion is pretty bold. Even Gu Yan feels like his own words sound incredibly manipulative and fake, but Gu Qingwan totally eats it up. Just hearing him suggest they text more makes her feel unbelievably happy and relieved deep inside her heart.
A small, subtle smile slips onto her face as she promises she will, but then their class starts, completely cutting off any further conversation.
Still, Gu Yan can clearly feel her entire focus is totally locked onto him the whole time. But every single time he turns to look at her, she instantly snaps her eyes forward. Honestly, this is getting a bit awkward. A massive college lecture like this is the absolute best.
Opportunity to just slack off and get credits, and he originally wanted to play some Genshin Impact to rank up.
After thinking it over for a bit, Gu Yan decides to pull out his phone, which immediately makes Gu Qingwan wonder what he is doing. Why is he suddenly texting? Is he feeling awkward, or does he just not want to talk to her? Just as her mind starts racing with worries, the sudden buzz of the phone in her pocket startles her. Looking up, she sees Gu Yan gesturing for her to check her screen. He texts her asking what they are having for lunch, which catches her completely off guard. Gu Qingwan is shocked at first, but then a wave of pure joy hits her. He was only using his phone to chat with her. She quickly suggests going to Zuiyulu. It is her treat, she replies. Now, Zuiyulu is easily the most expensive restaurant in the entire city, hands down. A single meal there costs thousands, which is enough to scare off 99% of people. College students almost never flex this hard, and very few can ever afford to eat there. Before this, Guyan's absolute wildest dream was just working there as a waiter. The pay there is double the average. Feeling hesitant, he texts back that they can just grab fast food instead. As a regular working guy, he knows that accepting expensive favors always comes with strings attached. If he takes something he cannot afford to pay back, who knows what crazy price he will have to pay later on. But here's the thing, Guyan completely misunderstood her intentions. She was never asking for permission. This was a straight-up command, no questions asked. She texts that it is final, looking at those blunt words on his screen. Guyan suddenly remembers that her bossy and extremely stubborn personality is actually legendary around here. But whatever, he cannot win against her anyway. Once the lunch bell finally rings, they join the massive crowd heading outside, immediately feeling everyone staring at them with a mix of pure shock, jealousy, and gossip. Some are even shipping them, which honestly makes his head hurt from all the pressure. Normally he would not care, but now that they are actually siblings, things are different. The amount of time they spend hanging out together on campus is only going to increase. If people start digging and find out their actual relationship, it could get wild. Talk about awkward. In Gu Qingwan's eyes, Gu Yan is her actual blood brother. But he knows the truth. He has absolutely zero connection to her wealthy family. If his real identity gets exposed during this contract gig, things are gonna get messy. Once the job is done, he will basically be branded as a dirty scammer. But if he backs out now, how does he get Gu Qingwan to cooperate with his actual plans? After all, clinging to this fake identity of a long-lost son is his only leverage. But hiding the truth makes him look incredibly shady, leaving him completely stressed out. His pace speeds up without him even realizing. She notices and asks if something is wrong.
Catching up, Gu Qingwan asks what is up. Gu Yan admits too many people are staring.
He hesitates before speaking. Gu Qingwan looks around, unfazed by the crowd of onlookers.
She tells him to wait while she gets a ride. But can taxis even enter campus?
Gu Ye smiles. He has never seen a normal taxi allowed inside the school gates. He is about to warn her, but she is already marching straight towards someone. It is the dean of students. Since Guyan frequently applied for aid, he knows him well. This guy is a piece of work, always looking like everyone owes him millions. He is incredibly impatient and constantly looks down on the poorer students. Basically, he is a total scumbag. Worried, Gu Yan rushes over to stop Gu Qingwan. But guess what? Gu Qingwan only says a couple of words, and this arrogant dean completely flips. He starts bowing and scraping like a servant. Gu Qingwan just turns back to Gu Yan. She waves him over and says, "Let's go, I found us a ride." They sit in the back in silence. Honestly, Gu Yan is completely blown away. The dean's pathetic, groveling attitude was a real eye-opener for him. The guy literally opened the doors for them and volunteered to drive them wherever they wanted. This gives him a whole new perspective on just how powerful the Gu family is. He realizes he needs to leave this city once his contract ends to avoid their wrath. 10 minutes later, Gu Qingwan pulls him straight into the famous Zuiyue Tower.
This high-end luxury restaurant sits right in the most bustling part of downtown.
Its massive billboard is impossible to miss. They are immediately greeted by the staff. The manager welcomes her back. Gu Qingwan nods, asking if they have a private room. Of course they do. They always keep a VIP suite reserved just for her. She turns to him and says, "Gu Yan, let's go." He can only gape in shock.
He nods and follows her inside, even though he has never stepped foot in here before. He knows the prices. You have to spend at least 10,000 yuan just to get a room.
Keeping one on standby 24/7 costs over 100,000, yet here is Gu Qingwan. Getting this treatment without even calling ahead is on a level he cannot comprehend.
Seriously, the wealthy live in a completely different world. A casual dinner here costs more than his entire month of part-time work.
Gu Qingwan glances back at him.
She sees the sheer awe in his eyes and seems to understand his feelings.
She smiles warmly and tells him, "Don't worry, you are a Gu family member too."
You will get used to this soon. Gu Yan just mumbles in agreement and looks down.
A wave of bitterness washes over him. Yes, his last name is indeed Gu. But that is where his connection to this powerful family completely ends. He honestly dreads to think how she will react when the truth finally comes out.
He can only pray she will not hate him. He lets out a silent, heavy sigh. Clearing his head, he follows her into the VIP room. Immediately, the rich scent of rare sandalwood fills the air. They step into a super high-end private dining room that screams expensive. Gu Qingwan pulls out a black card, telling him to order literally anything.
She tells him not to worry about the price, but as he tries to speak,
Gu Qingwan cuts him off immediately. No saying whatever is allowed here.
she already ordered her favorite, so if he actually respects her as his sister, he needs to order big. Since she put it like that, our main character decides to stop arguing. He scans the menu code and is hit with a crazy list of 4-digit prices.
Biting the bullet, he orders a few expensive dishes and finishes up.
That is when he notices Gu Qingwan staring straight at him, asking him to explain something. Why was he so terrified of crowds at school when he never used to be this shy?
Here we go. His heart sinks because he knew she would ask this. Gu Qingwan is way too sharp, and she only stayed quiet earlier to save his dignity. Time to use his backup plan. Taking a deep breath, he plays it cool. He tells her he just does not want to expose his identity as a Gao family member. Gu Qingwan frowns immediately, her tone turning pretty sharp as she asks why. Is the Gu family name embarrassing to him? He quickly shakes his head. He says he is just terrified of ruining their family's prestigious image. We find out his 5 older sisters are all insanely successful in their careers. Even though Gu Qingwan is still in college, she is already the undisputed top genius in her department. Compared to them, he has absolutely nothing and feels completely unworthy of their name.
He lowers his head right on cue, acting completely consumed by self-doubt.
Hearing this, Gu Qingwan gets this sudden wave of realization.
She never expected him to carry such a heavy burden, blaming his lonely childhood.
Growing up alone must have made him feel so incredibly isolated. Her eyes fill with pure heartbreak as her voice softens completely. She tells him there is absolutely no need to worry because their family is not that strict. Besides, he suffered so much out there alone, and they actually owe him everything. She tells him to stop blaming himself, but he cuts in, claiming he's a Gu.
He needs to protect their reputation, so he wants to wait.
Waiting until his grades actually improve before revealing his identity is the plan.
Honestly, he is playing absolute chess here, because this is his real trap.
His current grades are pretty average, so who knows when he will actually reach the top. He might even run away before then. They will be hanging out all the time, and people are bound to get suspicious eventually. Gu Qingwan points out that he cannot just make up cheap excuses forever. Unless... She suddenly stops as her face turns bright red, completely cutting herself off. He's about to ask her what she means, but a sudden knock on the door interrupts them as a traditional server enters. Multiple waitresses file into the room, gently placing the luxury dishes on their table. They line up in a perfect row, bowing with polite smiles before leaving.
Having already feasted on crazy expensive food yesterday, he is pretty used to it by now. He eats with perfect, elegant manners, completely locking in Gu Qingwan's attention. She is totally mesmerized watching him, to the point she hasn't even touched her own food. Noticing she barely took a bite, he asks what is wrong. He teases if the food isn't to her liking, but she just shakes her head and says she's spaced out. She asks how he got to school today, and he says their dad had the butler drive him. Gu Qingwan breaks a sweat, asking if their old man at least gave him some pocket money. Pocket money? Glian shakes his head blankly, knowing he's just a hired actor anyway. Hearing this, Gu Qingwan's face completely drops. There is no way they finally got him back. Is her dad trying to raise him poor? Gu Yan quickly makes excuses, saying his father probably just forgot. He gulps, trying to cover for Gu Bingkun, but she scoffs. How does anyone forget something this important? Honestly, she cold snorts. This is the same man who delayed their mother's medical treatment back then. So forgetting this is no surprise. Hearing this, Gu Yan's heart suddenly skips a beat. He quickly tells her not to talk like that. When his dad picked him up yesterday, he brought it up and said he deeply regrets everything. Regret? Gu Qingwan is still way too angry, simply shaking her head in disbelief. If he actually cared, would he keep making these mistakes? But Gu Yan insists his dad said it himself. Besides, if he didn't feel guilty, he wouldn't have gone through all that trouble to find him. His desperate defense of their father catches Gu Qingwan off guard, making her eyes flicker. She is low-key heartbroken because this poor kid is just too mature for his own good.
She waves her hand to drop the heavy subject, saying enough of that.
She pulls a sleek black card from her pocket, explaining it contains the allowance their dad gives them. It is loaded with about $100,000 a month, though she cannot recall the exact amount. The sisters all have their own businesses anyway, so they never actually use their dad's money. She tells him to take it and spend whatever he wants. $100,000 a month? Now he gets why she signed that fake relationship contract with him without even blinking. The sheer wealth of these elite families is wild, but Guanyan does not want this card. At least not for free. He tries to refuse, but she insists he take it. Finally, he tells her he will only accept it under one condition. Gu Qingwan raises an eyebrow, and he asks her to at least forgive their father. He promises her that his dad did not do it on purpose, his reflection clear in her eyes. For a second, she wondered if Gu Yan was just acting spoiled after getting a black card. But it turns out he did it for their family. Why is he defending their dad so much? She thinks about it and immediately comes up with her own tragic explanation. He lacks love. Living as an orphan for so long must have made him crave a warm, loving family. He is trying to protect their family peace at all costs. Gu Qingwan's heart instantly melts, and she looks at him with pure affection and pity. She promises that she will forgive him. Gu Yan flashes a bright smile, thanking her. This smile only confirms her tragic theory, and she urges him to take the card. They finish eating, walk out of the restaurant fully satisfied, and prepare to head back to school. Since they do not share any classes this afternoon, they will have to go their separate ways. Gu Qingwan feels a bit of reluctance now that she actually understands her brother a lot better. Her awkward curiosity has officially blossomed into genuine sisterly love and affection. If she had the choice, she would spend all her free time hanging out with him. She wants to heal all the mental scars he got from growing up alone on the streets. She tells herself it is just sisterly duty, but as they prepare to say goodbye, Gu Yan suddenly grabs her hand, making Gu Qingwan turn back in surprise.
She acts totally cool, but deep down, she is low-key thrilled.
She wonders if he is also sad to leave, right before he asks if she is going home tonight. Our MC looks at Gu Qingwan with those big, watery eyes, completely melting her heart. Gu Qingwan stammers, nervously saying she probably shouldn't go back home.
Honestly, ever since starting college, she hasn't stayed at home for a single night.
The reason is simple. She still can't get over the issues with her dad. But even though it's a simple answer, why does saying it out loud feel so hard? She instantly feels this wave of guilt when the MC asks if she really can't come back.
He keeps pressing, asking her if she gets lonely living all by herself.
Lonely? Gu Qingwan thinks back to her roommates. Because of her cold personality, it's pretty accurate. Aside from one girl she occasionally talks to, everyone else actively keeps their distance. She never saw it as an issue, since middle school was the exact same way. But thinking about it now, she definitely felt lonely deep down. She just never really let herself dwell on it. The MC looks down and says, "If you don't want to, sister, just forget I asked." He turns to walk away, but Gu Qingwan feels this sudden emptiness and blurts out to wait. She stops him and asks if he really wants her to go back home that badly. "Of course," he replies, and when she asks why, he simply says, "Because we are family." Gu Qingwan freezes. Family? She hasn't heard that word in ages. Sure, she gets along fine with her sisters. With their busy careers, they barely see each other. Even their group chat was basically dead, with only occasional texts here and there. If it wasn't for our MC suddenly showing up, their family chat would be dead. He asks her again if she can please come home tonight. Grabbing Gu Qingwan's hand, he looks straight at her, saying he wants to be together. Almost hypnotized by those puppy eyes, Gu Qingwan subconsciously blurts out a yes. By the time she snaps out of it, the MC is already grinning from ear to ear. He cheers in excitement, and even though she wants to say she didn't fully agree, seeing how genuinely happy he is, she decides to just let it go. Maybe going back home isn't such a bad idea after all. A small smile creeps onto her face as school finally lets out. He's feeling great. During afternoon class, he had already messaged their dad, Gu Bingkun, with the good news. As expected, once the dad hears his daughter is finally coming home, he is absolutely thrilled. He is so happy that he immediately unlocks the black card for our MC to use. On top of that, he transfers 100,000 yuan as pocket money, which he happily accepts. Hey, he earned this with his own matchmaking skills, so why not take it? Looking at the busy streets, he actually considers splurging on a nice cab ride back. Suddenly, someone grabs his shirt from behind, catching him completely off guard. Before he can even react, he is dragged right into a car parked nearby. A kidnapping in broad daylight? No way, right? There are literally people everywhere. Could the Gu family have enemies this powerful? But as his mind starts racing, he looks up and realizes the person who grabbed him is actually his third sister. It is Gu Shuang, whom he just met this morning. She smirks, asking if he remembers her. She heavily emphasizes the words little brother, giving him a completely mischievous look. "What are you doing?" he asks, totally confused. She just laughs and tells the driver to go. Sister is taking him somewhere fun. Soon, with a sudden roar of the engine, the scenery outside starts flying by in a blur. Wait, isn't he supposed to go home? But his sister says they can play first. Gu Shuang gives him a charming smile, thinking she was too careless this morning. This time, she is absolutely determined to test his true character and see who he really is. Just last night, Gu Mengyue sent over his photo and spent hours hyping him up to everyone. She and the eldest sister started debating the real reason behind his sudden return. It is not that they completely doubt their father's explanation about his sudden return. But his return was just way too sudden, and they had absolutely zero heads up beforehand. So last night, they sent their people out to dig into his background secretly. At the same time, they cooked up this clever plan for Gu Shuang to pretend to be drunk, just to test his character and see who he really is. They want to find out if he is truly the long-lost young master of the Gu family, or just some clever con artist targeting their massive wealth. But guess what? A single sentence from him this morning completely threw her off guard. She literally forgot what she was supposed to do next, leaving her with no choice but to let him walk away. But this time, she is not going to make that same careless mistake again. She is absolutely determined to uncover his true face, and right on cue, the loud engine noise finally starts to fade. Our main character looks out the car window and sees a huge building flashing with countless colorful neon lights. The glowing sign reads Angel's Kiss in massive letters. Yes, she literally took him straight to a bar. She happily tells him they have arrived, but our boy hesitates because he only recently turned 18. He stutters that coming here is a bad idea, and he is actually being honest. This is actually his first time ever stepping into a bar, mostly because he never had any money growing up. And also because his former adoptive father was a heavy alcoholic who ruined their lives. Because of that, he instinctively dislikes alcohol, but his sister is absolutely shocked to hear he has never been to a bar. Gu Shuang stares at him in disbelief, looking at him as if he were some kind of endangered species. After all, in her entertainment industry world, drinking is the most ordinary thing you could possibly do. Forget about adults. Even many underage child stars in her circle drink constantly.
They literally brag about drinking alcohol just to build a mature and cool image for themselves.
An actual adult who does not touch a single drop of alcohol is something she has never seen before.
A playful smile appears on Gu Hanchuang's lips, and she is starting to find this younger brother of hers incredibly interesting. Our main character nervously suggests that they should turn around and just head back home right now.
He tries to back away, but she quickly grabs his arm before he can retreat.
She promises to show him a good time, secretly laughing because a guy who has never drunk before is perfect.
A complete lightweight is going to be so much easier to get drunk and spill all his secrets.
She tells him to stop worrying and says she will show him the real world, dragging him along. She pulls him straight inside the Angel's Kiss pub without giving him a chance to object.
The second they walk through the door, the deafening bass of the loud DJ music hits his ears like a physical truck. They quickly head into a luxury private karaoke room where she casually orders a bottle of 1998 to start. And 5 bottles of champagne, too. She also orders 2 glasses of their signature Angel's Kiss cocktail, listing all these expensive items off so casually. The waiter leaves with a huge grin on his face, and our MC cannot help but nervously whisper to his sister. He asks her if 1998 is just the name of a set menu or the actual price. Gu Hanchuang just gives him a teasing smile, making him realize it is indeed the price.
He feels totally out of place. Sister, let's go.
He can understand spending a lot on a good meal, but how can a single bottle of alcohol be this expensive? With that kind of insane cash, he could buy enough soda to literally give himself diabetes. Wait, little brother, you don't actually think Big Sis cannot afford this? He quickly replies that spending this much just is not worth it. But she does not care. As long as she is happy, every single penny is totally worth it. Gu Hanchuang casually lifts her glass, telling him to drink with her once the order arrives.
Seeing her absolute determination, there is really nothing else he can say at this point.
Plus, it is not his money, and he really needs to stay on her good side. She smiles and slides a drink over, urging her little brother, Gu Yan, to try it. She calls it the Angel's Kiss, presenting a glowing blue bubbly liquid right in front of him. This drink looks pretty wild, but he does not hesitate to follow her lead. As she takes a sip, he downs the entire glass in one single gulp. Instantly, a burning heat rushes down his throat, making his entire world start spinning. His face turns bright red, the classic sign that he is getting completely wasted. This is exactly what Gu Hanchuang wanted, but honestly, what happens next is low-key heartbreaking.
Seeing his flushed face, she suddenly feels a sharp, unexpected pang of guilt in her chest.
She remembers his words from this morning. Could his identity actually be the real deal? No, nothing is proven yet. If she stops testing him now, all her efforts are wasted. She quickly composes herself, plastering on that signature, playful, half-smiling expression.
She looks at him and asks if he can still keep going.
He pats his dizzy head, mumbling that he can absolutely keep drinking. At this point, the server places several more heavy bottles right on the table. But instead of backing down, he suddenly goes full beast mode and takes the initiative. He grabs a bottle, fills his glass, and tells her he is downing it all. He downs glass after glass in quick succession until his hands start visibly shaking. Gu Hanchuang is completely stunned, asking why he is drinking so fast.
She stares at the wet alcohol dripping from his chin, totally lost for words.
He slurs heavily, whispering that he only did it to make his big sister happy. He is so wasted he can barely form coherent sentences, but his raw sincerity hits hard. And that one simple line leaves Gu Hanchuang completely frozen and utterly panicking. He mumbles that he figured she brought him here just to watch him drink. So if he keeps drinking, she will definitely be happy, right? His voice is quiet and slurred, but the pure emotion behind it is undeniable. Bro, this is actually crazy. Gu Hanchuang is so shocked she drops her glass. The glass slips right out of her hand as she realizes he knew all along. Gu Hanchuang feels a massive wave of regret. She originally wanted to get him drunk to spy on him. But seeing him literally poison himself just to make her smile makes her feel incredibly small. She was plotting and scheming while he was showing nothing but pure, unvarnished devotion. He had never even touched alcohol before in his entire life.
Yet she still chose to suspect him. At this point, she absolutely hates herself. She quickly snatches the bottle away, desperately begging him to stop drinking.
He looks up with blurry eyes, asking if he somehow made her unhappy. He mumbles that it is fine and that he can easily drink more.
Seeing him reach for the bottle again, her heart aches like never before.
Years in the ruthless entertainment industry had completely hardened her heart to stone.
She genuinely believed the entire world was just made of cold, calculated schemes.
But looking at him right now, she finally realizes how utterly wrong she was.
Sniffling, she gently squeezes his hand and tells him that is not it at all.
She is already incredibly happy, so he really does not need to keep drinking. Gu Yan looks up at Gu Hanxuang, whispering that she is totally lying to him. After all, she is literally crying right now, so how could she be happy?
Gu Hanxuang freezes for a second, gently reaching up to touch her own eyes. It turns out her face is already completely covered in tears without her even noticing. She quickly claims she is just crying tears of joy because she is so happy.
Wiping them away, she forces a smile and asks if he can see her laughing. Giving him a warm smile, she tells him to stop drinking and just sit tight. She promises to get him something to sober up before quickly pressing a service button. In no time, the uniformed bartender rushes into the room, politely addressing her as Miss Gu.
He asks if she wants more drinks, but she orders him to bring sobering medicine. She demands he clean up all the empty bottles immediately, wanting him to move fast.
The bartender is completely baffled because as a major client here, he knows her well. Every single visit, she usually drinks herself into a complete stupor without ever stopping. But today, she is asking to sober up after barely 30 minutes, which makes no sense. On top of that, she wants the bottles cleared out. Like, sister, this is a bar. What is even the point of hiding the bottles, he wonders? No, he keeps it to himself. Realizing he cannot say a word to a client, he quickly scurries out of the room. Minutes later, the waiter returns with a glass of warm milk, which she takes to Gu Yan. Telling him she will feed him, Gu Hanxuang immediately picks up the milk and tries to push it directly into his mouth. However, at this point, our boy Gu Yan is already completely wasted and totally out of it. Forget about drinking milk, he is so passed out he cannot even open his mouth. Despite her best efforts to feed him, barely any milk actually goes down his throat. Instead, she ends up spilling it all over his clothes, leaving her totally helpless. At this rate, she suddenly gets a wild idea. Since he cannot drink, she could just feed him mouth to mouth.
But wait, she wonders if doing this might cross some serious boundaries between them. Shaking off her hesitation, she decides there is absolutely no time to overthink this.
Gritting her teeth, Gu Hanxuang immediately leaps into action and takes a gentle sip of the milk first. Approaching his face, which is completely flushed red from all the alcohol, she leans in and kisses his lips. After a moment, Gu Hanxuang wipes her lips, realizing that the touch felt like a literal electric shock. The absolute heat of the moment leaves her flustered, and just as she prepares for round two, her phone suddenly rings, and it is her sister calling, prompting her to ask what is up. When asked if Gu Yan is currently with her, a sudden wave of panic hits her hard. How on earth could Gu Qingwan possibly know about this when she should be at school? But the real problem is that he is indeed right next to her at this moment. To make matters worse, he is completely passed out from the alcohol she practically forced down his throat. She awkwardly tries to dodge the question, but her sister demands a straight yes or no. Her sister urgently explains on the phone that Guyan is a genuinely good guy, regardless of their bloodline. She insists he cannot be a fraud and begs her third sister not to hurt him. Hearing this plea, Gu Hanxuang is stunned because her sister has incredibly high standards. Usually, this highly prideful sister does not care about anyone outside of their family, making this an absolute first. For her to actually speak up for a guy is a massive plot twist, but unfortunately, it is too late. She silently realizes the call came way too late since our boy is already completely wasted. With absolutely no way to undo the damage, Gu Hanxuang can only offer a weak, nervous defense on the call. But Gu Qingwan is not letting this go, demanding to talk to Gu Yan immediately if he's actually fine. Gu Hanxuang glances at him and tries to cover, making excuses that he's just busy right now and completely fine. Gu Qingwan is not buying it for a second, her tone getting sharper by the second.
She demands to know why he cannot talk if he is fine, leaving Gu Hanchuang completely speechless.
I mean, she cannot admit he is passed out drunk.
But then, our boy Gu Yan finally blinks his eyes open, finding Gu Hanchuang's face inches away from his.
He groggily mumbles out, sister, and both Gu Hanchuang and Gu Qingwan on the other end. He groggily mumbles out, sister, and both Gan Hanchuang and Gan Qingwan on the other end. Where are you right now, she asks, her voice dripping with pure panic over the speaker. Even though Gu Yan's head is still spinning, he just smiles weakly and shakes his head. Gu Yan just smiles weakly, murmuring that he is totally fine with his third sister. But Gu Qingwan immediately clocks how weak he sounds and demands to know what is going on. She snaps at Gu Hanchuang, furiously asking what she did to their little brother. Gu Hanchuang starts stammering, completely lost for words, but hearing how angry Gu Qingwan is, Gu Yan steps in. Gu Yan forces himself to focus, explaining that third sister is just playing a little game with him. He insists they are fine, making Gu Hanchuang feel like absolute trash. Guilt completely washes over her face, because even after everything, he is still covering for her. Thinking back to her reckless behavior just moments ago, she literally wants to slap herself. Gu Qingwan sighs, saying she will take his word for it since he put it that way. She warns them to get back home early before finally hanging up the call. Silence returns to the private room, and Gu Hanchuang opens her mouth to seriously apologize to Gu Yan. But when she looks down, his insanely gorgeous face is already resting with his eyes closed. He is out cold, so she decides to explain later. With a heavy sigh, any desire she had to drink tonight has completely evaporated. As she wonders how on earth she is going to get him back to the car, her gaze gets pulled to the milk on his lips. Right, she almost forgot that she has not finished feeding him the hangover cure milk yet.
Though it is not too late to do this at home, getting some milk into his stomach now will soothe the harsh alcohol irritation. So she picks up the glass to finish the job. Holding it in her own mouth, she slowly leans in close, catching a heavy mix of alcohol and his sweet natural scent. She gently parts his lips to feed him, and cut to a moment later in the back seat of the car. Gu Hanchuang has Gu Yan's head resting comfortably right on her lap. Staring down at his soft, flushed skin in the dim light, that intense urge to get closer rushes right back into her heart. Gulping nervously, she slowly starts leaning down to test the waters. But boom! Her phone rings again, with a voice asking if they are back yet. It is their other sister, Gu Mengyue, and hearing her voice instantly snaps Gu Hanchuang right out of it. Sobering up instantly, she tells her they are on their way back. Gu Mengyue says that is great, because they are all waiting on them for dinner. Wait, dinner? Gu Hanchuang looks down at the sleeping boy and can only let out another heavy sigh. No hiding this. She decides to just confess. Wait, what? Did you seriously get Gu Yan drunk? Yells a shocked voice back at the Gu mansion. Sitting around the dinner table, both Gu Mengyue and Gu Qingwan literally drop their jaws in absolute shock. I mean, they honestly thought she just took him out for some innocent fun. No shot she actually dragged him to a bar and got him completely wasted. At this point, both sisters are absolutely losing their minds worrying about their precious little brother. Gu Mengyue complains that Gu Yan literally just turned 18, so how could she let him drink alcohol? Exactly. What if something actually happens to him? What would we even do? Both sisters look absolutely sick with worry. Sitting at the head of the table, Gu Bingkun's face is literally twitching as the two keep going back and forth. He mutters under his breath that the kid is just drunk. He suggests they just eat dinner first, thinking this would give them an easy out. You know, a nice excuse to finally hang up the phone and relax. But plot twist, as soon as he says this, both sisters glare at him with absolute fury. Dad, how can you say that? What do you even mean by just drunk? Gu Yan is your real son and our brother. Who knows what being drunk like this will do? Could it ruin his health? Is this really how you care about your own kid? Gu Bingkun is completely stunned. Like, since when is getting drunk actually this terrifying? Plus, he is not even his biological son. Besides, doesn't their third sister get drunk all the time? Why didn't they care about her like this? Left with zero choices, he has to explain. He quietly mutters that he did not mean it like that. He just meant their third sister gets drunk all the time and she is perfectly fine right now. But the sisters are not having it. Their third sister is an adult!
Of course, drinking is normal for her, but Gu Yan's whole life has been totally different. Do you even care about our brother, Dad? This guilt trip leaves Gu Bingkun absolutely speechless. He tries to defend himself, but both girls are already standing up to leave. They leave. He panics. Wait! No appetite. Gu Qingwan storms out without looking back, while Gu Mengyue at least says a polite goodbye. But the look she gives her dad is still filled with pure, unspoken disappointment. Just like that, this fancy family dinner is ruined, leaving Gu Bingkun sitting entirely alone. He replays the wild conversation in his head and just scratches his head. Honestly, I feel for the guy. He literally feels like he is the one adopted here. Meanwhile, Gu Hanxuang is driving like an absolute maniac. In just 10 minutes, she is back. She is literally drifting around corners to speed back to the family estate. Gu Hanxuang grabs him. She runs inside, panting. Brother Gu Yan is back! Gu Bingkun sees this and quickly stands up, asking in absolute shock what happened. Has nobody heard yet? She gasps out that Gu Yan is drunk before moving on. Then she runs to the fridge for milk, leaving their dad standing there completely frozen. Honestly, with how panicked she looked, he thought someone was literally dying. But nope, just drunk. This time, though, the dad has learned his lesson. Remembering how the other sisters reacted, he does not dare complain out loud. He's about to offer help when the other two sisters rush back downstairs. They come running down like their hair is on fire, demanding to know where he is. Seeing them in such a massive rush, Gu Bingkun points over to the sofa. He asks if they need help, but of course absolutely nobody cares. They do not even glance at him, just brushing right past. Asking if Gu Yan is okay, looking totally panicked. Begging him to wake up and not scare them like this. Gently tapping his cheeks as if he is literally on his deathbed. Just when it looks like Gu Yan might pass out forever, this happens. Suddenly, Gu Hanxuang's loud voice rings out from behind them, telling everyone to move. She walks straight toward Gu Yan with a glass of milk, leaving the other two sisters completely clueless. But since she's trying to save him, they quickly clear a path for her. Then they watch in shock as Gu Hanxuang takes a big gulp of the milk herself first. And then she feeds it directly into Gu Yan's mouth with a kiss. This insane move completely breaks their brains. Sister, what on earth are you doing? Gu Mengyue yells with a bright red face.
Exactly. How could you take advantage of our precious little brother like that?
Gu Qingwan chimes in with a dark expression, but Gu Hanxuang just smirks. She calmly wipes the leftover milk from her lips and smugly explains her master plan. You guys just don't get it. Our little brother Gu Yan needs milk to sober up right now. But he's too wasted to open his mouth, so I just had to do it for him. Gu Hanxuang thinks her excuse is absolutely flawless, but the other sisters are not buying it at all. Gu Qingwan raises an eyebrow and asks why she didn't just ask her to do it instead. Gu Mengyue raises her hand eagerly, yelling that she can do it too. What is even happening? Aren't her sisters supposed to have major man-hating tendencies? Yet they are fighting over Gu Yan, sibling rivalry at its absolute finest. She holds both of them back, telling them that as the oldest, she should do it.
Gu Qingwan shoots her a look of pure disdain and prepares to argue back.
But suddenly, a loud, booming voice cuts through the chaos, telling everyone to stop fighting. He asks what the big deal about feeding milk is and tells them to let him do it. Everyone turns to see their father, Gu Bingkun, walking up with a super depressed look on his face. He has lived with them for years, but their relationship has barely moved an inch. Normally, them pampering Gu Yan could be seen as trying to make things right. But now they are straight up trying to kiss him on the lips.
Don't they realize Gu Yan is a guy? If he doesn't stop this, their purity is ruined.
Gu Bingkun panics, thinking he must save his daughter's innocence at all costs. He decides to sacrifice himself and tells Gu Hanxuang to let go. He tells them to leave it to him, acting like a total hero. He opens his arms wide. But the sisters do not look at him with admiration. Instead, they look with absolute suspicion. They tell him to stay away, reminding him that Gu Yan is his biological son. Exactly, they ask how he could even think of doing something so messed up. Gu Bingkun is completely stunned. Getting mouth-to-mouth from the city's richest man should be an honor. He asks them if they are misunderstanding something here. He explains he is only trying to help him sober up, but they shut him down immediately. They ask if he really thinks it is appropriate for a father to do this. They complain that he hasn't even shaved his beard and might scratch their precious little brother.
And besides, Gu Yan is way too handsome to be kissed by a middle-aged man.
What if rumors start spreading? The three sisters completely team up against him?
This absolute roast session deals a devastating blow to Gu Bingkun's fragile heart.
At this point, he doesn't know if the world is isolating him or if he's isolating the world. By the time Gu Yan finally wakes up, it is already the next morning. He opens his eyes to a pink ceiling, and yesterday's wild memories start flooding back.
Alright, so Gu Yan remembers having lunch with Gu Qingwan first.
Then Gu Hanchuang dragged him to a bar right after school.
He saw right through her scheme and decided to play her instead.
But wait, did he accidentally spill his secret while totally wasted? Panicking, he springs right out of bed, only to realize he is not even in his own room.
And then his hand brushes against something incredibly soft.
He whips his head around, utterly stunned by what he sees. The realization hits he is actually in Gu Hanchuang's room, and he gulps, quietly trying to make an escape, but the moment he moves, the sleeping beauty wakes up and asks if he is finally awake. Seeing him alive and well, Gu Hanchuang is absolutely thrilled. She pulls him into a tight, excited hug without hesitation. With her looking this happy, did he actually dodge a massive bullet? Then he suddenly remembers a tiny detail from last night. He told her he drank just to make her happy, making her tear up. It was just a random excuse, but she actually bought it.
She gently asks her little brother if he still feels sick anywhere.
He assures her he is totally fine and feeling much better.
Shaking his head, he asks why he even slept here. Gu Hanchuang hesitates, saying he got completely wasted last night. She claims she just wanted to watch over him so he would not freeze. But he looks totally stressed, pointing out that he is a guy. And just like that, his first shared bed experience is gone. She laughs it off since they are siblings, but he goes silent. Honestly, this fake brother gig is becoming a high-risk job. If she ever finds out the truth, she is definitely folding him. But for now, he just needs to play it cool. He quickly stops overthinking and decides to change the subject. Gu Yan asks if he said anything crazy while drunk.
She flashes a sly smile, saying she remembers everything he said.
He immediately panics, carefully trying to probe for details. Wanting to make sure he didn't say anything weird, he asks again, but she just teases him. She refuses to tell him, keeping him on the hook. Seeing her playful mood, he knows it is probably fine. He gets up to leave, but she suddenly grabs his hand. She demands to know where he is going, begging him to stay. It is still early, and she refuses to let him go. Suddenly, a loud knock hits the door, and Gu Qingwan shouts his name. She asks if he is awake, and he quickly shouts back. Right under Gu Hanchuang's annoyed gaze, Gu Qingwan kicks the door open. Seeing them in bed together, she instantly pulls him up. She scolds her sister for not acting her age. Gu Hanchuang smirks and immediately fires back. She asks who was begging to take him to their room last night, making Gu Qingwan blush instantly.
As the girls' argument gets more heated, Gu Yan notices something.
Another head peeks in. It is Sister Mengyue.
She nods shyly, blushing.
Dad wants everyone downstairs for dinner, which completely saves him. He slips out immediately. The father, Gu Bingkun, is waiting, and seeing him with the daughters, his face instantly turns into a complicated mess. Gu Yan sits down and winks, asking what he's thinking. He is testing the vibe. Gu Bingkun's eyes have been glued to him, making him wonder.
The old man glares and snaps that it's nothing.
Just eat, he says. Just a simple phrase. But Gu Qingwan instantly frowns, calling out his cold attitude toward Gu Yan.
Gu Hanchuang backs her up, saying Gu Yan just got home.
Why so cold? Gu Bingkun is stunned. He was just speaking a bit firmly. Did they have to team up on him? Sensing the tension, Gu Yan steps in to smooth things over.
Dad didn't mean it, he says, so don't blame him.
Hearing this, the sisters instantly lose their anger. Finally, Gu Hanchuang sighs, telling him he is just too kind. Gu Bingkun's eyes go wide. Kind? Seriously? Over the next few days, life is pretty peaceful now.
He paints with Gu Mengyue, and at night dodges Gu Hanchuang's surprise attacks. As for the other two sisters, one is busy at the company. The others are away.
While bonding with them, he doesn't forget his main quest.
At least the misunderstandings with Gu Bingkun are finally cleared. But something is off. Every time Gu Yan reports, the boss looks like he is hesitating. Hopefully it is just his imagination. He might have to wonder if the boss has a secret crush. Gu Yan makes a quick request.
He asks for a day off to visit his grandpa, and the boss agrees. Grandpa just finished surgery and should recover soon.
As he turns to leave, Gu Bingkun calls him back.
His heart drops. Here it comes. Boss, he says, I am a guy. My preferences are completely normal, and this is not a rental boyfriend gig. Please respect yourself. A clean triple refusal right off the bat. Honestly, his defense is on another level. He has dealt with this way too much, despite the high pay. Gu Bingkun is completely dumbfounded. The confused boss coughs, telling Gu Yan not to get the wrong idea. He has zero interest in men, which Gu Yan calmly accepts. Hearing that, a massive vein literally pops on Gu Bingkun's forehead.
He snaps that it is actually about him and his daughter.
Gu Yan rolls eyes. He asks what is going on with the daughter. Boyfriend renting costs extra, but the boss shakes his head. The boss warns him not to get too close to them. Gu Yan is confused. How can he help without getting close? Getting along is fine, but does he not see? They might be getting way too close for comfort. Suddenly, Gu Yan remembers lying in Gu Hanchuang's bed. Wait, that is actually crazy. The boss reminds Gu Yan that he is not his son. Every job eventually ends, and he should avoid future drama. Getting tangled up later would be a total nightmare. Honestly, the boss has a point. Time to back off. Gu Yan agrees to keep his distance, satisfying the boss. Meanwhile, outside a super VIP room at the Central Hospital, a gorgeous woman spots the patient's name on the door. She smiles and asks if he is Gu Yan's grandfather. Walking in with gifts, she leaves the old man completely confused. She introduces herself as Gu Yan's girlfriend. At this point, Gu Yan finally arrives, stepping off the elevator. He follows the room number and finds the correct door. The door is open, showing a single bed inside. Gu Yan easily spots his grandfather. But wait, who is that standing next to him? The grandpa is chatting about his childhood when Gu Yan walks in. Speak of the devil. The mysterious woman turns around, looking extremely surprised. She quickly covers it up, calling him Yan Yan with a smile. Gu Yan is completely lost, though he definitely knows her. Why on earth is his big sister Gu Mengyue standing here? Plot twist of the century, honestly. She even used his nickname before he could even react. The grandfather laughs, saying Gu Yan should have told him sooner. He is thrilled he has a beautiful girlfriend instead of doing shady work. Gu Yan is losing his mind, like, bro, what is going on? Then he sees Gu Mengyue secretly winking at him. She clearly wants him to play along with this crazy lie. Normally, he would never go along with a fake identity. He would reject it instantly, but there is one major problem. How on earth can he explain his job? Explaining his weird gig to his grandpa would be a nightmare. A rich girlfriend is way easier to accept and keeps grandpa happy. So Gu Yan just smiles and says they just started dating. Gu Mengyue immediately grabs his arm to sell the act. She explains they wanted to wait until after his surgery to tell him. The old man laughs, saying good news only makes him recover faster. Grandpa happily waves his hand as Mengyue offers to go peel an apple for him. She smoothly ends the conversation and uses the excuse to step out of the room. Grandpa smiles, saying she obviously wanted to give them some space. Such a sensible girl. He asks Buyan why he never mentioned her before, joking if they are tricking him. Buyan does not panic. He calmly tells his grandfather not to overthink it. The surgery is already done, so who would go to such lengths to lie? He explains he met Mengyue at a part-time job but was too intimidated to speak. The old man finally relaxes. True, but she paid for his medical care this time. It must have cost a fortune, so Buyan needs to treat her right from now on. Don't worry, Grandpa, he completely understands. Buyan nods, then asks what the two of them were talking about earlier. Grandpa replies that Mengyue was just asking about his childhood. It is no secret. So he told her he hopes it is not a problem.
She is definitely trying to investigate his identity, but our boy is not worried at all. Honestly, even Grandpa does not know his true background, so it is totally fine. Grandpa nods, laughing about the time Buyan fell into the toilet as a kid. Or when he blew up cow dung and got stung by wasps stealing eggs.
Buyan instantly blushes in pure embarrassment, begging his grandfather to stop.
All right. Grandpa knows when to quit. He promises not to share the worst stories, just as Gu Mengyue walks back in. She hands 2 neatly peeled apples to the grandfather and grandson. She looks like the perfect, caring wife. Once Buyan takes a bite, she leans in. Mengyue whispers right into his ear, asking if it tastes good or if he wants her to feed him. A shiver runs down Buyan's spine. In this moment, he sees a familiar spark in her.
She has that exact same playful, teasing energy as Gu Shuang.
But compared to Han Shuang, the slightly older Mengyue carries a different vibe. She has a mature, irresistible charm. Buyan asks why she is not at work. Walking out of the hospital ward, he immediately questions her presence. Mengyue giggles, asking if visiting the old man who raised her brother is a crime.
She says it is only natural for a biological older sister to show up.
Buyan rolls his eyes at her incredibly smooth response. No wonder she became a CEO so young, masking her investigation so perfectly. Mengyue then suggests bringing the other sisters along next time, since they have no idea. Buyan sighs, reminding her that she already claimed to be his girlfriend. How would it look if his other sisters suddenly showed up too? Mengyue pats her head, laughing that she is technically Buyan's girlfriend, then leans on him. A sweet scent of orange shampoo and light perfume instantly fills his senses. He glances at Mengyue's stunning figure right next to him. Buyan quickly looks away because, honestly, her body is absolutely built different. Even with her conservative outfit today, her seductive charm is impossible to hide. Catching his reaction, Mengyue playfully rubs against his shoulder to tease him more. She giggles, telling him he can just look directly since she is his girlfriend. Buyan blushes and turns his head away, making Mengyue laugh even harder. She was seriously wondering what kind of spell our boy used on her sisters. They were all revolving around him, but now she finally understands why. Honestly, Gu Yan's adorable, shy face is just too cute to handle. She immediately gets the urge to tease him.
Don't be mad, she says. Big sis is taking you out to eat.
Gu Mengyue clicks her car keys and a flashy red sports car blinks nearby. Talk about a flex. He wondered who drove such a flashy ride to a hospital. Turns out, it is his wealthy sister, Gu Mengyue. Get in, she says. We are heading to Moon Pavilion. Bucked up in the passenger seat, Gu Mengyue sneaks a side glance at him. Pure perfection. Even without any makeup, he has this naturally soft, gentle look. Honestly, if she did not already know his real gender, she would never guess. Anyone would mistake him for an incredibly cute girl. Gu Mengyue cannot help but ask if he was born looking this beautiful. He complains back, asking if she really thinks he wants to look like a girl. Gu Yan, don't blame us for being suspicious, she says. Finding her long-lost brother like this is completely mind-blowing. I want to apologize, and I will give you whatever you want. His eyes light up instantly as he asks if she really means anything. Anything, she says. Money, clothes, a house, you name it. Her expression shifts. But he just shakes his head, saying he only wants her to visit home more often. That catches Gu Mengyue completely off guard. After years in the tough business world, she has seen too many rich, spoiled kids his age. They're usually totally useless and get into all kinds of bad habits. Compared to them, he is literally a breath of fresh air. Seriously, who wouldn't love this guy? But it makes sense since he grew up away from the family for so long. He must deeply crave a real, warm family. Her heart melts. Nodding gently, she agrees to his simple wish. He celebrates silently. He is finally one step closer to finishing his secret mission. Suddenly, Gu Mengyue's phone rings and she glances down at the screen. An urgent call. Gu Mengyue finally picks up to see what is wrong. She instantly switches to her cold boss mode, dropping all of her playful charm. Her assistant panics on the line, yelling that their big contract just fell through. Gu Mengyue's heart drops. She quickly demands to know which contract was broken. The assistant explains it is the one for today's massive livestream promotion event.
Cancelled. Last minute.
Wait, they are breaking the deal now? Everything was already locked in. How did this happen, she demands, but the assistant has no clue. Rumor has it their star was poached by their rival, Li Jia. It looks like they walked straight into a nasty trap. Gu Mengyue's face turns completely dark. She poured so much effort into this event. Their entire future corporate strategy rides on this. A failure would be absolutely devastating. It could entirely break their cash flow. Li Jia's ruthless move is pure sabotage. That is incredibly brutal, and Gu Yan is seriously worried about his sister. Gu Mengyue sighs and says they should head back to the office first. A nice dinner can wait. Work comes first. He asks what product they are selling, and she reveals it is Hanfu. They wanted to build massive hype first. Now everything is ruined, and Gu Mengyue is completely stressed out. Wait, what about third sister? He suggests bringing her in to save the day. But Gu Mengyue just shakes her head. It is not that simple. Gu Hanchuang's fanbase has zero overlap with the Hanfu community. Plus, this lineup is all about elegance, which is definitely not her vibe. Thinking about how Gu Hanchuang regularly gets absolutely wasted.
Yeah, elegance is definitely out. They finally arrive at the office.
The assistant is already waiting at the entrance and rushes over. She panics, saying the stream starts in 30 minutes and the gear is ready. Asking if they should cancel, Gu Mengyue refuses to give up. Mengyue asks if they can find another streamer, offering to pay double. The assistant shakes her head. The Lai family completely bought everyone out. That traitorous host refused and might even spread rumors to destroy them. Gu Mengyue curses under her breath while the assistant notices Gu Yan. She asks if this beautiful girl is Gu Mengyue's younger sister. Gu Yan flashes an awkward smile and says he is actually her brother. Honestly, getting mistaken for a girl happens to him way too often. So he does not even mind, but the assistant is completely shocked. She looks at Gu Mengyue for confirmation, and the sister just nods. The assistant literally covers her mouth because this boy is just too pretty.
He looks exactly like an ancient goddess. And wait, that gives her an idea.
She gets excited and says they actually still have a chance. If they let him model the Hanfu, the stream will go viral. Me? Gu Yan points at himself in pure shock. He is literally a guy. Plus, he has never streamed before. But as he complains, Gu Mengyue starts staring at him. Now watch, her doubt slowly turns into pure confidence. With his insane visuals, it might actually work. She regrets not realizing sooner because pouring resources into him would be epic. He would have easily outclassed that traitorous streamer. She tells him she has high hopes while Gu Yan tries to protest. He reminds her that he is a dude, so modeling Hanfu is crazy.
She says nobody will know, and besides, cross-dressing is totally a trend anyway.
Gu Yan is speechless. Honestly, because of his looks, people have suggested this before. He has been begged to try it for years, but he always refused. The reason is simple. He already attracts way too many guys looking normal.
If he actually puts on a dress, things could get wild.
But looking at his sister in absolute despair, Gu Yan might not have a choice. Gu Yan hesitates for a split second, and Gu Mengyue quickly senses his sudden inner struggle. Instead of pushing him further, she does something rare. She looks him dead in the eye. Gu Yan, she says, I really do want your help with this stream.
But the choice is entirely yours. If you are truly unwilling, I understand.
I will never force you. Gu Yan sighs helplessly, finally giving in and agreeing to help.
But he adds one condition, though he hasn't even decided what it is yet.
Gu Mengyue purses her lips and smiles warmly, her eyes carrying a mesmerizing charm. She finds her little brother cuter by the second, while Gu Yan asks her what exactly he has to do. Selling items on a live stream is completely new to him, which is a fair concern. But there is absolutely no time left to overthink, so she tells him to get changed first. She promises to handle everything else, pulling him straight into the backstage dressing room. This VIP dressing room was originally reserved for the expensive influencer they had hired. But after she broke her contract, the backstage crew was left in complete chaos. The moment Gu Mengyue steps into the room, the panicked staff finally find their leader. They crowd around her anxiously, but she calmly reassures them that she has a plan. All arrangements are as scheduled, so you all should just keep working as planned. But President Gu, we have no host, an assistant cries. Who says we do not?
Gu Mengyue steps to the side, pointing directly at Gu Yan standing behind her. Isn't he right here? The staff gasps, amazed by the stunning girl. They whisper if this is her sister, since everyone knows she is related to the superstar Gu Hongxuang.
Could this be the actual Gu Hongxuang? But others argue the star looks totally different. Besides, she is way prettier than Gu Hongxuang. Realizing what they just blurted out, the employee panics.
They quickly apologize to President Gu, stammering that they did not mean to call her sister ugly.
It is fine. I forgive you. Gu Mengyue waves her hand off with easy generosity.
Now stop chatting and help him get familiar with the clothes for the stream.
Then she calls assistant Zhao over to quickly map out the details for the live stream. Guayan is escorted by the eager staff straight to a massive clothing rack.
Miss, the stylist explains, these are the traditional Hanfu outfits we are selling today.
According to the plan, you need to wear each style on camera for about 5 minutes.
Can we start changing now? He simply nods in agreement. Picking out a gorgeous Hanfu, he heads into the fitting room and turns to the assistant.
Just to correct you, my name is Gu Yan. And my gender is male. Yes, a guy.
The assistant stares blankly at the closed door, her brain completely short-circuiting at the news.
How can someone that gorgeous be a guy? It makes her seriously question her own looks.
Is he actually a cheat code? Soon he finishes. He steps out of the changing room, triggering absolute chaos and gasps of shock across the hall.
Every single eye in the room locks onto him. Is there some sort of problem? He asks. No, there is no problem, the assistant stammers. You just look way too beautiful in this.
She stares blankly, her eyes literally turning into hearts as she gazes at him.
Meanwhile, Gu Mengyue was still busy in the corner planning the live stream sales strategy.
Hearing the sudden commotion from the staff, she frowns slightly and turns her head to look.
But once she looks, she cannot turn away. Honestly, the art here is top tier. He looks like a literal deity. At this moment, she is speechless. Gu Mengyue feels immense relief and deep gratitude, mixed with a strange, sudden heartbeat she cannot explain. Anyone would get the sudden urge to pull this absolute beauty into a tight hug. Miss Gu Yan. Wait, no, Mr. Gu Yan.
Can I get a photo with you? The assistant asks, her voice completely trembling. Her eyes are pleading, begging him, because this is literally her once-in-a-lifetime wish. Terrified that Gu Yan might say no, she drops into a full 90-degree bow. He helplessly scratches his head, telling her to stand up since he never actually said no. Really? That is amazing, the female assistant cheers, rushing right over to his side. She pulls out her phone, leans against his shoulder, and flashes a quick peace sign.
The girl literally starts crying tears of joy, shouting that she just took a photo with a goddess.
Gu Yan is just standing there with a twitching lip, thinking it is just a simple photo.
Is it really that deep? Trust me, he is about to find out exactly how crazy this gets. Since one brave soul took the plunge, the rest of the staff sees this. They immediately swarm him, terrified of being left behind.
This is actual national treasure treatment. Everyone pulls out their phones, and right as he starts to suffocate, a voice booms.
Gu Mengyue yells for everyone to stop, freezing the chaotic room instantly. She asks if they forgot the stream is starting and if their work is done. Do not disrupt Guanyan, she warns with terrifying boss energy. The crowd quickly scatters like birds while Gu Yan sighs in relief. Gu Mengyue walks straight over and brushes a stray lock of hair from his forehead. Her gaze is so intense it could melt him, making him ask about his job. He speaks up facts because that look is dangerously familiar. It is the exact same look obsessed girls used to give him back in the day. She explains that since he has zero sales experience, once they go live, he literally just needs to stand in front of the camera. No talking required. She will handle all the selling and he just has to stand there and look pretty. Is this really gonna work? He worries, but there is no other choice now. He knows nothing about the products anyway, so speaking would just ruin the vibe. Showtime arrives quickly. The setup goes off without a hitch after a final rundown of the plan. Gu Mengyue looks over at him, telling him the stream is starting. He nods softly and steps into the studio, which is actually pretty small. Just 2 chairs and some clothing racks. Plus some incredibly expensive-looking streaming equipment pointed straight at them.
There is also a massive screen displaying the scrolling live chat.
She tells him to wait for his cue, and he stands off camera.
His hands are shaking. It is his first live stream ever, and he is doing it fully cross-dressed. But since he already promised Gu Mengyue, he has to see this through to the end. The funny thing is, our boy has absolutely no idea just how insanely lethal his cross-dress look really is as Gu Mengyue greets the stream. The broadcast starts. She welcomes the viewers with a huge smile since they paid for heavy promotion. The viewer count immediately blows past 10,000 people within seconds. The viewer count is climbing insanely fast. Finally, the stream is live. Where is their beloved Ruyan? Everyone tuned in for her, but wait, who is this gorgeous assistant? Is everyone at this company built this different? Chat is losing it. Someone points out she might be the boss, but they do not care. They just want their star! Bring her out already! Seeing the endless spam, Gu Mengyue frowns. Things are getting pretty tense here. Unsurprisingly, most viewers came for their guest. They used Lu Ruyin as massive clout bait for their promos. Gu Mengyue knows if the star does not show up soon, they are doomed. They will lose everyone. But here is the crazy twist. Luckily, he still has our protagonist.
Keeping his composure, Gu Mengyue clears his throat to start the stream.
He makes a quick announcement. Meanwhile, inside a massive skyscraper across the city, a smug guy in a fancy suit is watching the stream. Right beside him is Liu Ruyan. He mocks Gu Mengyue for starting the stream without her. He thinks they are totally finished. Liu Ruyan puffs out her chest.
She leans in, calling him a genius.
Gu Mengyue would never guess she had already joined President Li's side. He is completely loving it. But as he stares at Gu Mengyue on screen, his eyes turn greedy. Let us see if he still dares to refuse my marriage proposal. He wants him to surrender. Back on stream, the chat is losing their minds over the news. They threat to leave. Without their beloved star, they feel totally lied to. Everyone is calling it a complete scam. They are absolutely furious. They are spamming reports. Confirming that Liu Ruyan cannot attend makes the chat explode. Gu Mengyue expected some backlash, but this wave of hate is insane. He looks at our main character. Seeing our hero give a confident nod, Gu Mengyue suddenly feels completely fearless. All these haters will shut up. He addresses the crowd, promising an official announcement about Liu Ruyan later. But he guarantees that today's stream will blow them away regardless. They think he is bluffing. They do not believe anyone can compete with their favorite star. This is wild. The haters are literally telling him to log off. Young Master Li just laughs. After all, Liu Ruyan is a legendary name in the community. She is famous throughout the entire cosplay scene, a literal cheat code. Nobody can replace her. But seeing the doubt, Gu Mengyue actually wants to laugh. Oh, they are not ready. Just as expected, the chat is full of tsundere haters claiming they do not buy any of this. Yet nobody leaves, so Gu Mengyue decides to turn up the heat. The paid traffic hasn't even peaked yet, and honestly, the hype needs to go way higher. Seeing the energy, she promises to drop a huge teaser. Today is our guest's absolute first time going live, so you guys are seriously in for a treat. First time? And she's comparing her to top-tier streamers? No way. Seriously? Her first stream ever? Who does she think she is? Some kind of literal fairy? Seriously? Stop wasting your breath. This whole stream is false advertising. Let's raid them. But now the hype is absolutely perfect. Gu Mengyue just smirks and waves Gu Yan over. Now watch, here comes the magic. Taking a deep breath, he walks out in front of the camera and turns to face them directly. The flashing camera lights make him a bit dazed, but he tries his best to flash a shy smile. And boom, the chat completely explodes with sheer awe. No shot, it must be filters. That is just high-tech beauty, nothing real. Wait, filters? No way. Look at the wall behind her, guys. It is not warped at all. A veteran photographer chimes in. He claims there are absolutely no filters here, just basic lighting. Nothing else. Seeing the toxic chat slowly start to change their minds is pure gold. Gu Mengyue finally lets out a sigh of relief, but then she checks the viewer count. Her eyes nearly pop. They only expected 50,000 viewers, but they haven't even started selling yet.
And boom! The count is already over 100,000 and climbing fast.
Seriously, who could resist? Gu Mengyue glances back at her cross-dressing younger brother, Gu Yan. He isn't posing like a professional model at all, just standing there like a dazed, cute rookie. He is biting his lip, playing with his hair, looking completely lost. On anyone else, instant fail. But with him, it gives off this insanely natural, pure vibe. Honestly, he is built different. Gu Mengyue hypes up the stream, absolutely ecstatic with how things are going.
Sales are even wilder.
Within minutes of him showing up, the exact hanfu he is wearing completely sells out. The stream goes on for over 2 hours, maintaining a massive hype audience the entire time. They averaged 5 million popularity points, and as things wind down, there is literally zero inventory left in the warehouse as the transaction numbers continue to explode. Gu Mengyue is ecstatic. They absolutely crushed it. Gu Mengyue looks at him with pure adoration, teasingly calling him Little Yan. How can she possibly thank him? Gu Yan mentally groans, thinking that splitting the profits 50-50 would be a great start. But she immediately cuts in, laughing because she knows he would never accept raw cash anyway. So she promises him a special surprise instead, giving him a playful wink. Speechless. What does she even mean by that? But as they arrive, someone greets Gu Yan right away, demanding to know where he disappeared to so early. The second Gu Yan steps through the door, his sister Gu Hanchuang lunges forward to hug him. She physically throws herself at him, which he is honestly completely used to by now. This is his daily routine now. It is not like he forgot his promise to Gu Bingkun. But whenever he tries to keep his distance, they wave the banner of sisterly love. She just looks at him with puppy eyes, asking if Gu Yan does not love her anymore. That one line completely shuts him up. Trust me, he did try to fight it. He thought about using their dad as a shield, but the moment he brought it up, Gu Hanchuang stormed into the dad's room with a freezing glare. Who knows what went down? All he knows is the dad never mentioned it again, even when Gu Hanchuang teased him. The dad just gives him a tragic, helpless look. "Sis, I am with eldest sister now." He pats her head to make her behave, but she instantly gets serious at those words.
Eldest sister is back? She immediately looks right behind him.
And sure enough, there she is, asking if they are not going to welcome her. Gu Mengyue smiles subtly, making Gu Hanchuang quickly shake her head to deny it. She asks if eldest sister is still investigating little brother Gu Yan's identity. Maybe they should just drop it. Hearing this, Gu Mengyue raises an eyebrow. She acts annoyed, teasing her for taking his side after only a few days. Gu Hanchuang blushes, stammering that she just really believes Gu Yan is a good person. Gu Mengyue chuckles, saying that little Yan helped her out big time today. She cannot even repay him enough, so how could he possibly be a bad guy? With that, she pulls his head into her chest and gently rubs it. This incredibly gentle side of her is something even Gu Hanchuang has never seen. Honestly, this is so wholesome. She cannot believe they got this close in just one day. She originally thought that her cold, calculating eldest sister would definitely treat Gu Yan like an enemy. She was literally stressing over how to make her accept him, but now she sees Gu Mengyue doting on him even more than she does herself. Even though she got what she wanted, Gu Hanchuang feels a sudden, weird prick of jealousy. "All right," she says, "let's head inside. Dad is still waiting for us." Gu Mengyue stops teasing, knowing the massive gift she prepared for him needs their father's backing. Gu Hanchuang yells after them, demanding to know where they went this morning. Seeing them walk away without answering, she quickly runs up to ask. Gu Mengyue leaves her with 3 words, "Check the trending search," before pulling Gu Yan into the room. Trending search? Gu Hanchuang is completely baffled by this. They only went out for a morning and somehow landed on the hot search list? Driven by curiosity, she opens the social media app, and the moment she sees the top topic, she completely freezes in pure shock. The headline reads, "Ancient Goddess Appears on Livestream." Unbelievable natural beauty. An absolute fairy spotted on stream. The title makes perfect sense. But why is the photo clearly of my little brother Gu Yan? Man, this twist is insane. Meanwhile, inside the room, when the father sees Gu Yan leading Gu Mengyue inside,
Gu Bingkun's heart literally skips a beat, even though Gu Yan warned him in the car.
but actually seeing her in person makes it impossible to hide his sheer excitement.
His eldest daughter had refused to see him for so long that he almost forgot.
When they last spoke, yet today she is standing respectfully right in front of him.
She is not even glaring or cold, which brings him absolute overwhelming joy.
Gu Bingkun whispers that he will get a raise for this, giving him a highly proud look.
Gu Mengyue is the first to break the ice with a simple greeting. Staring at her aging father, a rare hint of warmth actually flickered in her eyes. As the eldest daughter, she remembered the day their mother passed away all too clearly. That is why her grudge against her father ran so deep. He knew their mother was sick. The symptoms were obvious, but he kept delaying her checkups just to focus on his business. But as she grew older, she slowly started to understand the weight he carried. Since her dad sincerely repented, her deep-seated hatred had low-key softened over the years. Honestly, pride was the only thing keeping them from reconciling sooner. Gu Bingkun nods with a shaky voice, repeating how glad he is she is finally home. He can barely hide his joy as Gu Mengyue apologizes for being so stubborn all this time. The father tells her not to apologize, and just like that, the ice completely melts. Both of them suddenly turn to look at Gu Yan, with the dad praising him for everything. Gu Bingkun admits the house would never be this lively if Gu Yan had not returned. Hearing this, Gu Yan's eyes immediately light up. This is the perfect setup for a fat pay raise. Gu Mengyue agrees, saying she would not have known how to open up without her little brother. She calls him a literal gift from heaven, feeling terrible about his years of suffering. Seeing Gu Mengyue's overly soft look, Gu Yan instinctively feels like something is off here. He quickly chimes in, telling them he is back now and they should look forward. Gu Mengyue nods in agreement and then gently addresses her little brother. She asks him to step out for a minute so she can talk to their father alone. Gu Yan happily agrees and makes his exit, closing the door behind him. With just the two of them left, Gu Mengyue's gentle expression immediately vanishes. She tells her father she wants to talk about Gu Yan, making the old man freeze. Gu Bingkun's heart sinks. Did she actually find out about Gu Yan's fake identity? He asks what she wants to discuss, his voice trembling with pure anxiety. She explains she wants to talk about compensating Gu Yan for all those lost years. He suffered so much outside, so shouldn't they give him some serious compensation? Hearing this, Gu Bingkun quietly lets out a massive sigh of relief. He points out that since he is back, they will have plenty of time to make it up. But Gu Mengyue frowns, calling her father completely clueless. She explains that since his return, Xiaoyan has been working hard to heal their relationship. Next, she asks if he knows why, and the dad is thinking, of course I do. Gu Bingkun complains internally because that is literally what he is paying the guy to do. But outwardly, he plays dumb and asks her why. Gu Mengyue says it is obviously because he lacks affection and is desperate for family warmth. She looks at her dad with utter disappointment, reminding him of how much Gu Yan suffered. Yet after returning, he gets zero special treatment and even has to sleep in the guest room. Honestly, is that even remotely fair? Seeing the literal fire in her eyes, Gu Bingkun quickly shakes his head and backtracks. He agrees they need to give Xiaoyan a massive compensation right away. So he tentatively suggests just giving him a huge sum of money. After all, he was already planning on giving Gu Yan a raise anyway. Doing it this way would also make him look great in his daughter's eyes. Talk about a win-win, but Gu Mengyue scoffs, calling money alone way too shallow. She shakes her head, saying she has a much better idea. Mengyue asks if he didn't always want her at headquarters, leaving her father completely stunned. He quickly nods, thrilled that his eldest daughter has finally come to her senses. With her massive talent, why waste time on those small-time, tens of millions businesses? He tells her that running the family empire is her true destiny, but Mengyue interrupts, suggesting they send Gu Yan instead. As Mengyue delivers this bombshell, Gu Bingkun's face instantly turns pale with shock. She asks why their little brother can't take over, questioning if he isn't considered family. Seeing her dad panic so hard, Mengyue frowns as he blurts out that it is absolutely out of the question. The truth is, the kid isn't even family. Gu Bingkun literally just hired him as a placeholder. The old man is crying on the inside, completely blindsided by his eldest daughter's sudden move.
He never expected his brilliant daughter to push for this, forcing him to scramble for a quick excuse.
He stammers that Gu Yan is still way too young and currently busy with school.
He suggests waiting until graduation, but Moyu casually waves it off as no big deal.
She argues that college students have plenty of free time, so getting a head start at the company is perfect.
The dad desperately objects, pointing out that she is too busy and the boy has zero business experience. But Moyu is one step ahead, assuring her father that she will personally assist him. Talk about a massive twist, the genius sister assisting him? Gu Bingkun almost spits out blood at the sheer absurdity, muttering that it feels completely wrong. He argues that she is far too busy to waste her time acting as an assistant for a kid. She smiles and says they are family, so it is no trouble at all, before turning the tables on him. She asks if he is actually against Gu Yan taking over, leaving the old man utterly speechless. Realizing he's cornered, the dad decides to play along for now, knowing the fake son will leave eventually. Meanwhile, Moyu leaves the room with a victorious smile, ready to hand our boy his massive new gift. She goes to share the amazing news, only to find another sister, Gu Shuang, pinning him down on the couch. A wave of pure jealousy hits Moyu instantly, and she demands to know what on earth they are doing. Han Shuang quickly laughs it off, claiming she just wanted a closer look at her handsome little brother after seeing him trend online. But Moyu isn't having it, reminding her that boys and girls shouldn't be getting that close.
Han Shuang pouts, arguing they are just siblings, so it's fine.
Moyu fires back that even siblings need boundaries, especially with so many servants watching them. Since the eldest sister won't back down, Han Shuang reluctantly gets up, clearly annoyed by the interruption. Gu Yan quickly steps in to break the tension, asking Moyu what this big surprise actually is. Moyu doesn't keep him waiting and reveals that their father has officially agreed to the plan. He is officially taking over the family corporate empire, and she is taking him to headquarters in 2 days. She promises to personally show him the ropes, but taking over the entire Gu group? He points at himself in complete disbelief, which only makes Moyu ask if he doesn't like the idea. He tells her it is not that. He is just incredibly shocked, and honestly, that is an understatement. This is absolute madness, because the headquarters controls the entire core of the family empire. He can't believe the scheming old man actually agreed to this, but Moyu tells him not to worry. She reminds him that he is a Gu, and is the only man in the household. This was inevitable. Taking over the business was always a matter of time, and Han Shuang quickly chimes in to agree. She adds that their little brother might just become the next head of the entire family soon. Laughing, she says the sisters will rely on his protection, leaving him to just chuckle silently. Let's be real, if our boy actually became the family head, his dad would literally lose his mind. Right at that moment, his phone suddenly starts buzzing like crazy inside his pocket. He pulls it out to check, and yup, it is exactly who he expected, the old man himself. He smiles knowingly, because it looks like he is in for one very interesting phone call tonight. But hey, it is the perfect chance for him to get a raise at this crazy pace. He will finish the quest in just a few months, which would be a massive loss. So he makes a decision. He has to squeeze at least 1 million out of the Gu family. Maybe 2 million? Talk about poverty limiting your imagination. Now he is actually dreaming of 5 million. But boom! That is actually his payout. That night, Gu Bingkun's words echo in his head. 5 million! He can't even hide his shock because he thought 1 million was the absolute ceiling. Turns out Gu Bingkun's casual offer easily shatters the limits of his wildest dreams. The boss just brushes it off, saying it is exactly what he deserves. Gu Bingkun waves his hand, explaining that the Gu Group's deals start at tens of millions. Just don't mess this up, he says. The main character replies, if you don't want me there, I can always decline. Our guy honestly prides himself on having some solid professional ethics. If the boss says no, he won't do it, but Gu Bingkun just gives him a deep look. No need. If you decline, Moyu will... Actually, forget it.
It is better if you go. This way, while Moyu is busy assisting you,
She can actually get some real exposure to the group's business. All right, our main character nods. Internally, he decides to be a completely hands-off boss. An assistant is basically just a secretary, right? As the saying goes, the secretary does the work while he relaxes. Then Gu Bingkun shifts topics. I have seen your results, and to be honest, I'm pretty satisfied.
But I need you to speed things up. Our guy can only sigh, boss.
This is already insanely fast. You have to realize
He used to work at least 3 jobs a day. Ever since getting this gig, he quit everything else to focus completely on this one thing. With this kind of work ethic, he honestly wants to give himself a model worker award.
I know, I just want you to do your best. As for your pay getting cut, don't worry about that. I will hand you a massive bonus once the job is done.
It will be way more than your monthly salary. Don't worry, boss. I will go all out.
He pats his chest and promises confidently.
Hey, as long as there's extra cash, he's down for anything. Gu Bingkun nods.
I have nothing else for you today, so you can head back. But just as he turns,
Gu Bingkun speaks up again, warning him not to talk to them about anything too deep.
But then the boss hesitates, shakes his head, and says, never mind. Just go on home. After watching our guy walk out the door, Gu Bingkun lets out a heavy sigh, hoping his daughters only see him as family. Some hater online comments, "What goddess? This is clearly a scam company using heavy beauty filters." Shut your mouth, you blind, brainless idiot! Open your eyes and look closely. Where do you even see a filter here? How did your mother even raise someone like you? Keyboard warriors really love to embarrass themselves. After firing off that savage paragraph, Gu Mengyue finally lets out a breath. Right now, she is under his trending search, absolutely cooking the haters. To boost his views, she doesn't just like and comment on every single video. Her real mission is going to war with every single negative comment in the section. Gu Mengyue might be a massive extrovert in real life, but online, she is literally a superhero. Completely on her own, she is literally built different and can turn a comment section of just 100 into thousands using the most savage words. She makes those little haters witness the absolute cruelty of the world. But wait.
to keep her sweet brother happy, she secretly fights internet trolls in her room.
After all, he is a literal angel to protect. She giggles happily. Guyan asks what she is laughing about. His sudden voice startles her completely, forcing her to quickly hide her phone.
Blushing hard, she hides her phone behind her back and stammers to ask why he's there.
He looks at his jumpy sister, reminding her of their plan.
She gasps. Laughing awkwardly to ease the tension, she asks what is actually going on.
With extreme hesitation, she reveals that a professional editor actually noticed her new manga draft. That is amazing news. But she explains the editor wants to meet up in person.
Since her social anxiety makes going out absolutely terrifying, she begs him to accompany her.
She looks down nervously, twiddling her thumbs. He instantly agrees. Staring at his encouraging smile, she cries out that he is the best brother ever. She throws herself into his arms. Gently patting her head, he is ready to accompany her outside.
Helping her overcome this extreme social anxiety is going to be one crazy journey.
But it will definitely be a long grind. What is it about?
He wonders if he can take a quick look first.
Mengyun instantly blushes as red as a tomato, twisting and turning in sheer embarrassment. Shyly, she says it is fine.
But she panics. Running to her desk, she hands him her sketchbook.
She frantically tells him it is just a random doodle, begging him not to judge.
He flips it open.
Instantly, her incredible art style blows him away.
Even a total amateur can tell she has insane talent. It is a romance. The plot follows a wealthy, long-lost heir returning to his socially anxious sister.
This plot is suspiciously familiar, and honestly, the self-insert is so real. And the younger brother in the drawings looks incredibly beautiful.
Realizing he is literally the main character of this story, he stares at her suspiciously. Hiding her face, she waits. But the literal steam rising from her head totally gives away her panic. She nervously whispers that if he actually hates it, she will throw the whole thing away.
She cannot handle his intense stare.
He shakes his head. He would never let her ruin her hard work over his opinion. Honestly, he is just highly curious if people actually enjoy reading this exact trope. At this, she immediately shows him her phone. The messages prove this trope is highly popular right now. The editor is completely hyping her work up. This is literally a masterpiece that created a whole new genre.
She is a major rising star in the webtoon world, and if her pen name wasn't
so legendary that even our main character heard of it, he'd think she was a scammer. Gu Mengyue explains this editor has worked with her for a while, and his advice is usually solid.
So she quickly adds from the side, "All right then, tomorrow it is."
Since our main character is free, he offers to go along, making Gu Mengyue nod happily.
She cannot stop smiling. The next morning, our guy gets dressed and wakes up early. When the family hears they are going out together, everyone looks incredibly relieved. Especially Gu Bingkun, who literally sheds happy tears because his girl is finally growing up. Wait, check this out. The moment he opens Gu Mengwe's bedroom door, he completely freezes. Paired up with a cute knitted round hat, making this hardcore shut-in girl look totally elegant and sweet. But honestly, that is not even why he is shocked. It is because her outfit looks exactly like the manga hero character from yesterday. He even suspects she just drew the character while looking at herself in a mirror.
Suddenly, Gu Mengyue gently flicks her long bangs to the side, asking playfully, "Am I pretty today?" But that confident charm lasts only a second. Before she loses her cool, blushing red and stammering, "I did not mean it like that."
I was just role-playing a line from my comic. Our guy laughs, pointing out that is also a line from the webtoon. Just like that, Gu Mengyue's embarrassment completely melts away. A warm feeling takes over, realizing he remembered her work after just a quick glance. Let us go.
And off they go. The morning sun is incredibly bright, shining right on Gu Mengyue's face, making her feel a bit dazed for a moment.
She always thought a shut-in like her would spend her whole life rotting in the dark, never imagining she would finally step outside. Standing in the warm light feels so good. Looking at our main character beside her, a wave of pure happiness washes over her. He gently tells her it gets crowded downtown, so she should stay close if she gets scared.
Gu Mengyue cutely nods her head and leans a little closer to him.
Once they leave the estate, they quickly merge into the busy street crowd. Actually, they could have taken a private car, but she wanted to conquer her social anxiety. So she insisted on walking, but seeing the endless sea of busy strangers all around, she predictably starts panicking. Head down, she is completely terrified to make eye contact, absolutely regretting her bold choices in her heart. Why did she have to brag in front of him? She just wants to go home. And then, boom, just as her inner panic hits a boiling point, everything changes.
A warm hand suddenly grabs her slender left hand, and his gentle voice whispers right in her ear, "Sis,
do not be afraid, I am right here." She cannot even speak, and only nods silently. But our guy can clearly feel a sudden surge of confidence in her as she grips his hand a bit tighter. About half an hour later, they finally reach the scheduled cafe. Inside, a woman holding a briefcase is already waiting for them. Spotting them, she instantly runs over. Seeing this, our guy marvels at how passionate her editor is to recognize her from so far. Gu Mengyue is stunned, saying she has never met her editor. While he is totally confused, the woman rushes right up to them, calling her Miss Gu Yan and asking if it is really her. Turns out she is actually a massive fan wanting to take a photo together. A moment later, the editor finally pieces it together and awkwardly apologizes to them both. She seriously had no idea that her absolute idol was actually siblings with her favorite artist. Honestly, that explains so much.
Anyone who can draw a masterpiece like that could never be ordinary anyway.
She shakes it off and locks in, telling them they need to talk business. Her company is absolutely loving Mengyu's work and wants to sign a contract immediately. They even want to publish physical books, which catches our boy completely off guard. The editor tells them not to worry about sales since they already did the math. As long as the quality stays this high, they can easily sell 100,000 copies. The original deal was a 50-50 split, but if Gu Yan is willing to help,
if he actually steps up to promote his sister's work himself, they have a better offer.
They will gladly give up another 10% of the profits. Our boy is just stunned. He wonders if he actually has that much influence, and she tells him absolutely. The editor completely fangirls here, mentioning that just one single clip of his stream hit over 1 million views in just one day. That is actually insane. There are literally dozens of other clips pulling in millions of views too.
People even started a massive fan club for him, and she proudly admits she joined it.
All hyped up, she pulls out her phone to show them the massive chat group.
Mengyue is just mind-blown by how fast this is all spreading.
Last night, the highest video was only sitting at 5 million views.
The editor explains that it actually was not even this crazy at first.
But then the famous superstar Gu Qingwan started spam reposting all of Gu Yan's clips. Now he is literally everywhere. That explains why yesterday afternoon,
Gu Qingwan was locked in a room giggling at her phone. She was plotting this.
all right, so they finally pull the conversation back to the actual contract. They spend the next 30 minutes sorting out all the fine print. With our boy using his cheat code looks, the editor agrees to bump their split even higher.
After sending her off, it is still pretty early, so he asks his sister if she wants to go home.
He checks his watch, but Mengyue immediately shakes her head. No shot she is going back yet.
Sure, she hates being stared at in public, but being around him makes her feel completely safe.
She feels totally at peace, and since they finally got some rare alone time, she is definitely not going home just to watch the other girls snatch him away.
So he suggests they grab some food first.
Mengyue nods, admitting she already has a perfect spot in mind.
Since they are already downtown, the shopping district is just a quick walk away.
After walking for a few minutes, they arrive at the exact place she wanted. But the second he looks up at the sign, his face completely drops. This is literally a super famous couple's restaurant. He asks his sister if she got the wrong place.
Her face instantly goes bright red as she tells him not to get any weird ideas. She claims she is only here to gather reference material for her webtoon.
Gathering references here? He is skeptical, but her comic is literally a romance story, so it tracks.
It actually makes sense. She quietly mumbles that if he is uncomfortable, they can leave.
Seeing his hesitation, she looks totally dejected, but he quickly speaks up.
Of course he is, down, nodding eagerly to reassure her.
Her webtoon just got signed, so they absolutely have to take this seriously.
Just because of her manga? Gu Mengyue feels a little disappointed hearing his reason. But Gu Yan quickly adds that his sister worked hard to plan this trip.
He is happy to go anywhere with her, immediately warming Gu Mengyue's heart. She sneaks a glance at him with eyes full of unspoken affection.
Table for two? Please follow me, the waiter says as they step inside.
He leads them with a warm smile, and since this trip is for manga research,
ordering is naturally left to Gu Mengyue, who scans the massive menu. Finally, her eyes lock onto the couple's combo meal. It is really just 2 bowls of ramen with slightly different toppings. The whole point is to let couples feed each other. Business owners definitely know what they are doing.
people come here to flex their relationship first and actually eat second.
Classic oblivious main character energy. Gu Yan just wants to devour his food. But as he looks down, a pair of chopsticks holding beef appears.
Gu Mengyue looks at him seriously and tells him to open wide. She claims it is strictly for research, so he should not get the wrong idea. She needs to know how a guy reacts to being fed by a girl. Gu Mengyue is blushing furiously while waiting for his reaction. Her voice is trembling slightly, but her eyes are locked onto his.
Gu Yan scratches his head and admits he has no clue.
He apologizes to his fourth sister, confessing he has never dated before.
Despite being surrounded by girls his whole life, it is totally true. To this day, our boy is still a complete beginner in romance.
Partly because his grandfather was strict, but also because of something else.
The girls at school were way too aggressive for his taste. They would literally stalk him outside the restroom just to hand him gifts.
That level of intensity was just too overwhelming for him. So he stayed single, which makes Gu Mengyue secretly thrilled inside.
Once she realizes he is telling the truth, pure joy fills her eyes. She tries hard to hide her smile. Honestly, she is winning so hard right now. She tells him to pretend she is his girlfriend and describe the feeling.
How does it feel to be fed by her? Gu Yan thinks it over. He bites the food right off Gu Mengyue's chopsticks and gives a brilliant smile.
He says it would feel like this, leaving Gu Mengyue dazed as she grabs her phone.
She begs Gu Yan to hold that exact smile for a second.
Sure, he says, biting onto the food from her chopsticks once more.
He flashes a bright, sincere smile directly at her camera.
His handsome face and those chopsticks are instantly frozen on her phone screen. He cannot eat another single bite, seriously.
Gu Yan puts down his chopsticks and rubs his full stomach.
A single bowl of ramen usually would not completely stuff him like this. But to help Gu Mengyue with her research, he let her feed him, practically eating most of her bowl too, leading to this food coma.
He asks if she has had enough or if they should order more. She is busy looking down at her phone and says she is completely full.
Gu Mengyue shakes her head, noting the dinner is officially wrapped up.
Now that they got their references, does fourth sister have anywhere else she wants to go? Without a single second of hesitation, Gu Mengyue tells him she wants to hit the riverbank. Honestly, that's an easy request, since the city they live in is literally named Jiangcheng. Literally, a city right by the river, just like the name says. It turns out Gu Mengyue only wanted to go there because she is heavily influenced by romance K-dramas. You know the trope. Couples in love always walk down those beautiful tree-lined paths. And of course, the most famous path in this entire city is right along the river. The afternoon sun feels incredibly warm as it filters gently through the lush green leaves. Beautiful dappled light falls all over them, while a cool river breeze blows right past. It's so cozy, our boy can't help but yawn as she holds his hand tight. Gu Mengyue keeps stealing cute little glances at him. She initiated this hand-holding, claiming it's just for reference. Deep down, she doesn't understand her own feelings, since they're supposed to just be siblings. Classic romance tension. Yet her mind keeps wandering to some very unsibling-like thoughts about our boy. What exactly are these thoughts? Honestly, she's too afraid to even think about it. She doesn't dare look deeper, knowing that having a younger brother like him is already a huge blessing. But that's human nature. Once you get a taste, you always want more. You always want more. And then, completely acting on impulse, she does something bold. She whips out her phone and snaps a picture of them holding hands, alongside the photo from their dinner date. And boom, she posts them straight to her feed, making her move.